I will very simply put America first. Somebody charges us, we charge them. It's very simple. We've been mistreated very badly by many countries, not just Canada and Mexico.
But Donald, they point out that even though you're a very smart guy, this is a very dumb thing to do.
Unnecessary and stupid tariff wars or trade wars.
L'Europe, comme une puissance qui se tient, devra se faire respecter et donc réagir.
Jetzt Zollpolitik das schwierig macht, dann wäre das schlecht für die USA, schlecht für Europa.
It's the 21st century, yet war is still happening, just without tanks and missiles. Instead, it's fought with tariffs, sanctions, and economic retaliation. Wait, so who's actually winning? The battlefield? It's not trenches or warships. It's factories, ports, and even your grocery bill. For thousands of years, war meant armies, conquests, and bloodshed. Kingdoms rose and fell with the clash of steel and the roar of cannons. From the Roman Empire to the Mongol invasions, history was written by those who conquered with swords and strategy. Land, power, resources. These were the prizes of war. Then came the 20th century. War became bigger, deadlier, and global. The world saw two devastating conflicts, reshaping borders and economies. But what if war didn't need bullets? After World War II, a new kind of war emerged, not fought on battlefields, but in politics, economics, and ideology. It was the Cold War. And then, something changed again. The Cold War ended, but the battles never stopped. Instead of military weapons, nations turned to a different kind of arsenal: money, markets, and influence. Welcome to the new battlefield: trade, technology, and energy. War hasn't disappeared. It's just moved to boardrooms, stock markets, and diplomatic meetings. Let's talk about the biggest trade war of our time: the US versus China. It's a fight over dominance, with billions of dollars at stake. It started with tariffs. Trump hit China, China hit back. But this wasn't just about money. It was about control over the future of global trade. Is trade war just economic policy, or a geopolitical chess game? And what's the biggest prize? Technology. But we'll get to that in a moment. Think trade wars are only between enemies? Think again. The US and the EU, historically allies, have their own economic battles. Tariffs on European steel, disputes over digital taxes, even wine and cheese weren't safe. Global trade is no longer just business. It's politics. But tariffs aren't the only weapons in this war. Sanctions, cutting off a country's economy, can be just as devastating. Russia felt the full force of this during the Ukraine war. Frozen assets, banned exports, and tech blockades. But trade is just one battlefield. The real fight? It's over the future. Who controls technology? Who powers the world? And that's where the next wars begin.
It all actually applies to a humanoid robot. It's the same techniques. It's just a robot with arms and legs instead of a robot with wheels.
In recent years, China has emerged as a global powerhouse in the field of artificial intelligence and robotics. So you can see, these robots are amazing.
In the past, wars were fought with guns. Now, they're fought with algorithms and microchips. If you think this is just about gadgets, think again. The real war isn't about making iPhones. It's about who controls the brains of the future. semiconductors. Whoever leads in semiconductors leads the world. And right now, it's a fight for dominance between the US and China. So the US said, "No more high-tech chips for you, China." And China responded, well, by making their own. Is China catching up? The problem? Making cutting-edge chips takes decades of research, billions of dollars, and, oh yeah, access to the world's top manufacturers, like TSMC in Taiwan. Wait, Taiwan? That's right, Taiwan. Taiwan produces over 60% of the world's semiconductors. If tensions between China and Taiwan escalate, the entire global tech industry could be thrown into chaos. But it's not just about hardware, it's about who controls data. Because data, it's power. What happens when your personal data is a weapon? Governments are banning apps, restricting internet access, and fighting over who gets to see your selfies. Okay, maybe not selfies, but definitely your data. And it's not just companies spying on you, it's entire nations. The more data they control, the more influence they have. Are we already living in a digital Cold War? The next frontier? The battle over 5G, the technology that will power everything from self-driving cars to smart cities. China's Huawei led the race, but then the US and its allies said, nope, not on our networks. Meanwhile, companies like SpaceX are launching thousands of satellites to create an independent global internet. A new space race? Maybe. In the 21st century, battles aren't just fought with weapons. They're fought with data, chips, and connectivity. But there's another war coming, one that might decide the fate of nations. For over a century, oil ruled the world. Wars were fought over it. Economies rose and fell because of it. But now, the rules are changing. Whoever controls energy controls the future, and the battle has already begun. For decades, oil wasn't just fuel, it was power. Saudi Arabia, Russia, and the US built their influence on it. But today, oil's golden age might be fading. Governments are pouring billions into wind, solar, and electric cars. But does this mean oil is finished? Not so fast. Oil isn't giving up without a fight. And let's be real, until your car runs on sunshine, the world still needs it. But there's a new player in town, and it's not black gold, it's white gold. Forget crude oil. The future runs on batteries, and batteries need lithium. The problem? 85% of the world's lithium is controlled by just a handful of countries. And guess who's leading the race? China. Not only does it mine lithium, it refines most of the world's supply. Meaning, if China wants, it can shut down the EV revolution overnight. The US and Europe are scrambling to catch up. But let's be real, digging a new lithium mine isn't like opening a Starbucks. It takes decades. So, the question isn't who has lithium, it's who controls it. And right now, China's playing chess while the rest of the world is still reading the rule book. The world is betting big on green energy, solar, wind, hydrogen. But make no mistake, this isn't just about saving the planet, it's about power. China, it produces 80% of the world's solar panels. Europe, it's cutting ties with Russian gas. The US playing catch-up. Even oil-rich countries are diversifying because they know whoever leads in clean energy will lead the world. But here's the thing, this transition, it won't be smooth. And the fight for energy control, it's just getting started. The old oil wars, they won't just disappear. They're evolving. And the real battle for energy dominance, it hasn't even peaked yet. So the next time you charge your phone, ask yourself, who really controls your energy? From swords to missiles, from battlefields to boardrooms, war has always evolved. But has it ever truly ended? Peace is no longer just the absence of war. It's a fragile balance, a constant negotiation, a battle fought in different arenas. And as technology advances, so does the battlefield. The battlefield has changed, but war, it never truly ends.